Jehovah hates when you play with your wiener. Although Watchtower knows that beating your meat is not mentioned in the Bible, it is considered an unclean habit that might lead you into the path towards fornication. It might even make you gay. When you play with yourself, you are acting out of selfishness. You are cultivating wrong mental desires, and you are making God very sad. JWs who serve at headquarters are under even more scrutiny, as headquarters considers masturbation as a form of self-abuse.
Resisting the unclean habit of masturbation.
If you are a JW and need to alleviate sexual tension, you have a total of 3 options: obey God and not touch yourself, jack off and then feel guilty afterwards, or rush into an unhappy marriage. Blood. Jehovah's Witnesses are prohibited from accepting blood transfusions. This is because of their awful interpretation of some verses from Leviticus that talk about not eating animal blood. Yeah, totally the same thing. Accepting blood equates to disassociating yourself from the religion, and if you need a blood transfusion to save your life, it is better to martyr yourself than to make God sad. JWs can't accept whole blood or 4 of its main components, but smaller blood fractions derived from these 4 components are acceptable and for each witness to decide. You are supposed to carry this blood card in your wallet at all times. In case there's an accident, the doctor that sees this blood card is legally obligated to not give you an emergency blood transfusion. In that case, see you in paradise. Birthdays. Birthdays are pagan celebrations that displease God. The Bible only mentions birthdays twice, and in both cases the celebration ends up with someone being killed. Jesus never celebrated his birthday, so why should we? It is better to be generous year-round than to only give gifts one day of the year. JW kids are not allowed to attend birthday parties, and if they do, they will be facing tremendous religious guilt. Wedding anniversaries are completely fine though. Divorce. There's only one way you can get divorced in the JW religion, and that is if one of the spouses commits adultery. If your spouse is unloving, neglectful, or right down abusive, but there is no proof of adultery, you are still not allowed to divorce. If you do, you will be disciplined by the congregation and disfellowshipped, and you will not be allowed to remarry until your spouse engages in sexual intercourse with someone else. Friendship. Making friends outside the religion is highly discouraged. Outsiders are known as worldly people, and they are seen as a corrupting influence regardless of how well they behave. JW kids are told to avoid making worldly friends at school, and if they do talk with an unbeliever, it is usually with the purpose to convert them. Bad associations are not limited to the unbelievers. You are also to avoid making friends with JWs who are not spiritual enough. Friendships in this religion are entirely conditional, and if your friend is disfellowshipped, you can't talk to them until they are reinstated back into the religion. Military service. JWs are pacifists. They refuse to serve in the military or go to war. They are also not allowed to serve as non-combatants either, instead asking for alternate civilian service. All wars are bad, except for the future war of Armageddon, which will wipe out 99% of the world's population at the hands of God. That one is totally okay. Tattoos. There are several ways in which Watchtower controls how Jehovah's Witnesses dress. Men are not allowed to have long hair or locks. Women are not allowed to wear dress pants to the meetings. And no one is allowed to have tattoos. This is seen as a violation of Leviticus 19:28. In the past, JW men were not allowed to grow a beard, although that ban was lifted recently, after the governing body acknowledged that the Bible does not actually condemn beards. Maybe in the future we're gonna see the lifting of other prohibitions, such as long hair and tattoos, since the Bible doesn't directly condemn those either. Only time will tell. Voting. JWs are expected to remain politically neutral in everything. Since Jehovah's Witnesses believe that God's kingdom will soon destroy all governments, partaking in politics is seen as putting your trust in men instead of God. This means they cannot salute the flag, express their political opinions, or vote. JWs are prohibited from protesting the government, even though Watchtower has a long history of fighting for their religious rights in the courts. This refusal to engage in all types of politics has landed hundreds of Jehovah's Witnesses throughout the decades in jail, and it's what drives authoritarian governments to look at the group with suspicion. Smoking. Smoking tobacco or weed is a cause for disfellowshipping. Taking CBD products for medical reasons is judged on a case-by-case basis. Since your body is seen as a temple, taking drugs is seen as profaning that temple. although drinking alcohol in moderation is acceptable, and a lot of JWs have a huge problem with overindulging in food. So much for taking care of your temple. Interfaith. JWs believe that they are the only true religion. All other religions are a creation of Satan and together form Babylon the Great, the world empire of false religions, represented by a harlot riding a wild beast. God will soon use the United Nations to destroy all false religions. JWs are not allowed to attend the religious services of anyone else, and all dialogue with people of other faiths is done with a mission to convert them. JWs also separate themselves from other forms of Christianity by avoiding using words like church, rapture, bishop, and Eucharist. They also avoid using the cross, seeing it as a pagan symbol of apostate Christianity. They believe Jesus died on an upright stake. Holidays. Staying apart from Babylon the Great means JWs avoid most popular holidays. Christmas and Easter are considered pagan since they have symbols that originate from pagan religions. Halloween is even worse since it is associated with demonic entities. National holidays are also banned because, as we've seen, JWs are told to remain strictly neutral in politics. Feelings of patriotism are strictly forbidden. Even Mother's Day is banned since Joseph Rutherford, the former leader of the religion, considered it a form of creature worship. The only religious celebration acceptable is the Memorial, which is the JW version of the Last Supper, celebrated once a year during Passover season. Casual dating. JW teens are not allowed to date. Dating is reserved only for adults who are ready for marriage. Couples who are currently dating are not allowed to go out unchaperoned, since going out by yourselves is seen as dangerous and conducive to immorality. As you can imagine, premarital sex is extremely forbidden, but so are other forms of intimacy such as sexting or making out. All of that must wait until marriage. But what if you end up being sexually incompatible with your spouse? Well, too bad. Apostasy. An apostate is a Jehovah's Witness who has left the faith and now speaks against the religion. Current JWs are instructed to never speak with apostates, nor to listen to anything they have to say. Apostates are constantly demonized, portrayed as mentally diseased individuals who spread lies about the Watchtower organization. Several things can get you disfellowshipped under accusations of apostasy, such as attending a holiday or questioning the leadership of the religion. This paranoia for apostates has become more severe in the past months, since more Jehovah's Witnesses are using the internet to uncover the more problematic aspects of the religion. Shunning. When you commit a serious sin in the congregation, sins such as premarital sex, watching porn, or smoking weed, you are expected to confess your sin to the elders. If they deem you unrepentant, you will be disfellowshipped from the congregation. Jehovah's Witnesses are not allowed to speak to disfellowshipped individuals, even if they are family. Speaking with a DF'd person can get you disfellowshipped yourself. DF'd people can attend meetings at the Kingdom Hall, but they cannot speak with anyone there. If you would like to speak to your family again, you must approach the elders and ask to be reinstated, which is a process that can take several months or even years. Questioning leadership. The governing body is composed of 9 men in New York, the top leaders of the religion. They are seen as God's only channel, and questioning them is completely prohibited. JWs are expected to not only obey the governing body, but also to think exactly like them. Going against the governing body is guaranteed to get you in trouble and potentially disfellowshipped under accusations of apostasy and causing divisions, since questioning the governing body is seen as questioning God Himself. You are also expected to obey the elders in your congregation. Listen, obey, and be blessed.